What's going on, guys? This is your boy Jalen here on another episode of Elevated Minds, and we've got a special guest. We've got Ryan here, and this is going to be a really cool episode. You know how we like to talk about mindset and fitness, things about getting the mind right, getting the body right, getting everything aligned. And we've got a awesome person to come on here to talk about this with. Ryan has done so much. He's had, I'm going to say, over 17 years of martial arts experience. He's a coach. He's into nutrition. And so he's got so much experience and so much to share today. So we're really happy to have you on today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Jalen. Yeah, you kind of hit it right on the spot. I'm turning 22, actually Monday, and I started martial arts when I was 3 years old. So just a continuous learner. I absolutely love it. It's trained in almost 7 different styles, and ever learning, my guy. So it's always a pleasure to come on, talk, especially with you talking over text, kind of bouncing ideas back and forth when we were back at the coffee shop. So yeah, thank you for having me on.
Hey man, glad to have you. Really glad to have you on. So first question I wanted to ask is, what kind of inspired you to pursue martial arts? I guess you said you started pretty young. What kind of what kind of inspired you to pursue that in the beginning?
It's weird. I really feel like my mom kind of made that choice for me. She stuck me right into martial arts, Chinese Kempo specifically, which is kind of ironic because Chinese Kempo is like the oldest style of martial arts. So she said, you're going to be learning martial arts. I don't think she knew too much about it, but it was kind of just our local dojo at that time. And turns out that I met so many of my great friends, an incredible instructor, Mr. Hanshi Dave Kovar, and he has trained, I think it's for the last 45 years or something, and he has over 8 different black belts. So having the privilege to train under that man has what's truly changed my life, and I'm still in contact with him today. So it's truly incredible to be surrounded by so many people like that.
Man, that's awesome, especially to have someone that has 45 years of experience. That's crazy.
And that's at least. So I'm pretty sure he has upwards of 50 years going on with martial arts. So he is a true legend in my book and many other books. He walks around Sacramento and everyone kind of notices him and realizes who he is.
That's awesome. So he definitely knows his stuff. Yeah,
you don't want to mess with him. He's great.
So when it comes to martial arts, because there's all different types of fitness and working the body, but I feel like martial arts is such a really profound type of fitness in a way, because it's more than just physical. So how would you say that it's more difficult than some normal type of fitness, just going to the gym or yoga or something like that? Do you think it's a little bit more?
Good question. I really believe it's kind of the style and who the person is. If someone has more of a background than just general athletics, maybe they played sports in high school, maybe in college as well, it might be easier for them just because they're used to, for one, stretching, and for 2, rehab, and also for 3, having that aspect of strength and explosiveness and quick movements. So we call them fast twitch muscles. So if you kind of have that background, I believe that martial arts will be pretty simple for you, just because that's what a lot of styles of martial arts kind of really intend on, and the focus behind them is, yes, all about kind of those fast movements, because again, you're reacting to different situations. A lot of the time it's self-defense, so you have to have that quick motion, where people who kind of just regularly go to the gym, that has, yes, their strengths and weaknesses as well. I have the background in bodybuilding, so I completely understand that side, and CrossFit has its own strengths and weaknesses, and then yoga, you'll never find me in a hot yoga studio. That's hard. Are you kidding me? So much respect for them. It's hot in there, and to hold a pose like that, you can ask anyone at the gym I instruct at. I'm probably one of the least flexible people there in the hips, specifically, just from bodybuilding. So everything that they do in the yoga studio, props to them, because wow, if you've ever tried it, it is really hard.
See, yeah, I can't do saunas and stuff like that. I remember one of my friends wanted me to come in a sauna after we had this long workout, and I was in there for 30 seconds. And I was like, there's no way. How long do you stay in here? He's like, oh, but you stay in here for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I'm like, how?
Yeah,
So
saunas are wild. Saunas are wild, dude. My mom, I actually get inspiration of the sauna from her. She's in there for 45 minutes. She's been doing it forever. Trainer. Yeah, but what's great are the infrared saunas. So if you ever have a chance to try those out, those are great. They help kind of just really rejuvenate your body in so many different ways. So I know there's a few around San Diego. If you ever get the chance, I'd check one out.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I hear they're so good for the body, like detoxing and, releasing stuff from the body. I'm so bad with extreme heat, but I mean, I think I'll try it. Maybe I'll try you said the infrared. Maybe
the infrared saunas, they're usually not as hot, but they have like a big red light at you. And I know a lot of people out there, especially like in the fitness guru phase, whatever you want to call it right now, that is a big hype. People are going more and more into the infrared saunas just because of, again, it kind of kills all the bad blood cells that you have, and allows more oxygen to get into your bloodstream, and again, a lot of different healing factors as well. So I like infrared saunas. They're not as hot, so maybe you'll enjoy it. But really good for, again, recovery.
Man, okay, that's awesome. So so you said you started off in bodybuilding, and so that's interesting, I guess starting from there and then going to martial arts. I watched this video a long while ago, and it was about these jacked, like super jacked bodybuilders, and they would go and try yoga and hold a pose, and they just really couldn't. And so I know every single type of fitness is different, and so what would you say for people that might have started off doing something else like bodybuilding or any other type of fitness, and then now trying something more like martial arts? Do you think that that's an easy transition, or do you think that people would, or do you see people having any type of complications when going from here to there?
The risk for injury increases dramatically. It is
really
the idea of cross training. So currently I do cross training because bodybuilding, they train a lot of hypertrophy, which puts a lot of stress on your muscle fibers, because what's their goal? Make them really, really big muscles. Hypertrophy kind of go hand in hand. Martial arts or yoga, a lot of flexibility, a lot of different movements. So for me, it's been hard to kind of make that transition out of bodybuilding, because I started martial arts again, super, super young. Did that all the way up until high school, then went more to athletic training as I started to play a lot more sports and got a lot more focused. My plan was to play in college. Then I got hurt a few times. So I'm like, all right, let's try bodybuilding. We went to bodybuilding for a few years. And then again, I didn't see it really as a long-term vision. It's not super healthy for your body. And I just missed like the feeling of moving, right? I just always tell people are like, where do you start with fitness? Just move, just get out. There's no one set way of doing something. I do try and encourage people to get under the bar, do some sort of weightlifting, because later in life, you want to have a strong bone density. And the only way you're going to get strong bone density is through weightlifting. So I say you have to do some sort of it, but honestly, just get out there and move. Because if you don't like what you're doing, if you're not moving the way you like to, or the way your body likes to, at the end of the day, you're not going to do it. So as long as you're moving, staying active, staying flexible, specifically, I'm a hypocrite for that one, because flexibility for me is not the best, specifically because I'm getting out of bodybuilding and transitioning more to just pure athletic training as I'm getting ready for future careers and staying in martial arts. Again, just trying to be as nimble and as athletic and explosive as possible. So making the transition is hard. It's been like a year and a half in the making. I'm almost to where I want to be for, I guess, the rest of my life per se in fitness. But no, I've had a lot of different coaches, a lot of different mentors start to help me just with stretching, and now just different types of weightlifting routines for my specific goal.
That's awesome. And I like what you said about making sure people should do some type of weightlifting. And, I know a lot of women hate the thought of weightlifting because they think, oh, if I weightlift, then I'm going to get huge and I'm going to be this stocky woman, you know, and all. But, you know, I try to tell people it's not like my mom was like that. I've been trying to encourage her to weightlift for years, and she's like, "Oh, I don't want to be this big woman." I'm like, "Mom, that's not how it works." But
yeah. No, I wish every time I touched a dumbbell, I would get jacked.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
that's the thought right now.
Like,
is every time you touch a
like
dumbbell,
people that are.
I wish.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But you know, so that's one thing that's a misconception about weightlifting. So what are some misconceptions about martial arts that people have? Because I know everybody's got misconceptions. Everybody thinks all these different things, and it's usually entirely opposite from what they think.
I know everyone kind of realizes that it's in the mind a lot of the time. I think with Chinese Kempo, my first martial arts, that taught me more than anything. More than Krav Maga, more than Jiu-Jitsu, more than Eskrima, weapons training, just because it's about repetition. So I would go in and do forms for the same hour. So it took a very long time to master. That's why Chinese Kempo, it's one of the hardest to get your black belt in. And I got mine when I was about 15. It took me 12 years to get there. So it was, yeah. So Jiu-Jitsu, again, it's an amazing sport. It takes a while to get a black belt. I'd say roughly 8 or 9 years. And it's also considered one of the hardest martial arts to get a black belt in. Chinese Kempo specifically taught me just kind of how much training it really goes into perfect the craft of a martial arts. And I'm definitely way, I guess you could say, not even close to mastering any form of martial arts. Because again, I see myself as a student. Yes, I go to university, I'm about to graduate, but just in this world, I'm a student to everything. So I think a big misconception people have with martial arts is that you can walk into the gym and feel secure about either defending yourself or fighting in the UFC after 8 months. Martial arts is a lifetime. Yeah, martial arts is a lifetime commitment. So if you really want to be good, if you really want to be confident in what you're knowing, you can't really just show up like some people do with the gym. Like, oh, I have a resolution. I'm going to go there for 6 months and get in shape and lose 30 pounds. Yeah, you might lose 30 pounds, but martial arts, after 6 months, are you going to be able to defend yourself against a knife or a gun? So, like, you only have one shot to defend yourself once from a knife or a gun. Other than that, you may not have a life after. So that's why for me specifically, it's the consistency and the determination to just keep showing up to martial arts, because you don't really see your results. You can't really test them unless you're sparring. So that's why I do have so much respect for sport martial arts like Jiu-Jitsu, like Muay Thai, is because you can test how good you are. But again, when you're in there, Chinese Kempo, Krav Maga, and with these weapons training, you can't really test it, because from there, it's like testing is defending yourself.
Right.
So for me specifically, it's the commitment and how rigorous the training is to actually feel confident that you can defend yourself and others with martial arts. And yeah, just showing up every day without knowing whether or not you are fully confident or not within it.
That makes a lot of sense, and I think that's why they call a lot of these types of martial arts disciplines, because it's like, it's not like you're gonna just, like you said, you're not gonna just get in here, you know, for a month and be like, all right, I think I got it. You know, and what you said, it sounds like you need to actually put a lot of time in, and you know, failing and trying, getting better. So what would you say that does for the mind? Because I know it's got to take, discipline itself has got to be, you know, you got to train. You got to train not just your body, but you got to train your mind. Like, okay, we're going to continue to do this, even though we think we got it. We don't really have it yet. We still got to put more hours in. What does that do for the mind?
Definitely the consistency kind of hardens your mind a little bit. It hardens the fact of work ethic, and it kind of shows you what true work ethic is. Now, Jalen, I believe there's kind of two people where it's like, oh, yes, I'm coming in once, twice a week. I'm learning. Awesome. Great for you. You're learning how to defend yourself. That's great. But I really think not only in the martial arts studio are you learning, but you're also learning outside. So if you're just a continuous learner, I think that's what martial arts has taught me, is you will never learn every single thing in this world. But if you can just continue to learn in martial arts, okay, what aspects of weapons defense are the best for me in this case? For the US specifically, it's gun and knife. Over in Southern Asian countries, a lot of it is going to be eskrima, defending against sticks, brooms. Not sure why. Demographics and studies have shown that you have to train for your specific area. Because again, over back east, Krav Maga, traditionally, a lot of the knives were coming up and over because they would go for the carotid arteries. So a lot of people should learn to defend in that certain manner. But over here in the West, a lot of people stab from below. So you should learn that. But I really believe that if you are really wanting to kind of master martial arts, and if you're really wanting to master this specific thing or anything, you have to think outside the box a little bit. That's why I study human psychology and human anatomy so much, is because if I can just diffuse a situation with some simple psychology and not have to use martial arts, that's going to be my first option. If I don't have to defend myself, I've only had to defend myself a handful of times in different situations. And people always ask, oh, how many people have you beat up? How many? That's not the point. The point is to not have to use it. And they're always looking for a fight, especially if you know how to use martial arts. But it's like, all right, let me learn though the psychology behind why they want to fight me.
Yes.
And then use that situation so you don't have to defend yourself. Now, if it comes to it, I always say don't start the fight, but end it. Kind of a cliche saying, but I really believe in it. I had a little girl that I instruct. She's in like 5th grade, and some older boy was picking on her. And she never started the fight, and she'd always kind of get beat up a little bit. But just 2 weeks ago, she didn't start the fight, but she kicked him in the groin. She finally stood up for herself. The teachers were on her side. So she didn't start that fight, but she sure did end it.
And I like what you said there about, I read something called, like the peaceful warrior, where, you're equipped with what you need to fight, or when, if something arises, something happens, but you're not, you're chilling, you're calm, you're not really looking for it to, cause any trouble. And I think that, because I don't know like a martial art or anything yet. I thought about learning a couple of times before, different things, but I never got around to it. I probably still will one day. But, I feel like in a way it's got to give you some type of a confidence about yourself to know that, hey, if someone really does want to mess with me, or, mess with my girlfriend, or mess with my sister or whoever, or you have something, you have to break up a fight, you'll know how. So would you say that, being able to, I don't want to say master one of these martial arts, but just having that equipment in you, like you practice, you've been doing it, now you're a little more comfortable. Would you say this gives you kind of a more confidence about yourself in life?
Oh yeah, 100%. It has given me a lot of confidence in knowing that I can defend myself and others. Again, I never look for a fight, but I know that in social gatherings, settings, if something does kind of break out, I almost feel as if you were an EMT and someone went down, right? You kind of feel the calling to go help. So in a few occasions, there's been kind of a fight that breaks out. It's like, all right, let's break it up, not punch someone in the face, but break it up and kind of have the confidence, again, to feel like you can handle that situation. So yes, to answer your question, it has brought a lot of confidence into my life, just knowing that I can defend myself, defend others. And it's kind of goes back to my first instructor that we mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, Hanshi Dave Kovar. And he always, again, at each combo, we end like this. And this just means keep this a secret, like it's hidden in the back of your pocket and no one knows about it. Because for one, if people know about it, they want to fight you. For 2, it's humbleness. And for 3, it's if you have to use it, all right, let's go ahead and use it, right? So just having that confidence, knowing that you don't have to tell the world that you do martial arts, but it's definitely something that I can kind of walk around. I always, you can ask any of my friends, I'm always on alert whenever we're out, just out of habit of making sure that I know my surroundings and everything. But it's, brought me a lot of confidence, stillness. And I say it's pure confidence because I feel like a lot of guys right now, it's kind of two spectrums. You either have like the over alpha man, which is like just a lot of fake confidence, which it's so fun to watch.
It is.
But then you also have like the weak guy, right? The weak, softer man, which again, I don't really understand that whole side. I wish I had more to say about it. I'm not knowledgeable enough to say on how they feel about their circumstances or if their test levels are low or whatever that case may be. But it's like having kind of a balance. Like you have compassion, right? On one hand, compassion, integrity, perseverance, everything on that sort, but you're not a blowhard, macho alpha guy, right? So I feel like if you can just stay calm in every situation and not have to prove to anyone or prove to even yourself that you're some big alpha guy with a blown ego, I think that's out of anything, or even people that I meet who I kind of see that in, I'm like, that's pure confidence.
Yes, that I think pure confidence is so rare. I think a lot of people have kind of confidence for the things they have, or confidence for nothing internal. Because I feel like the internal confidence is actually, it's yours, it's you. It's not like it's borrowed. It's not like coming from something else. And so I just feel like a lot of men could use something like this, or could use fitness or something that's going to, make you feel good from within, because, you're proud of yourself, or, you put the time in, you did the hard work. There's something that you can't really, I guess in this, when it comes to martial arts, your hard work is going to really determine how good you are at it, or how you progress. Because if you just, I'm going to do an hour a month or something like that, you're not going to really improve like that, really.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree. It goes along the line of, do something 10,000 times and you'll be a master at it. So client actually brought that up last week. He's like, how many times do you punch a month? And I'm like, I can't name that number, but 5,000 to 6,000 times a month. So over the span of a lifetime, close to 1 million times possibly. So it's like, you have to do these things for so long to really master it. Think about 10,000 kicks, and that's just one kick, right?
Wow.
You have to do that over and over. You can't just spend 1 hour a week and expect yourself to do 10,000 kicks consistently back to back, because you can do 5,000 in 2 months, take a break of like 6 months off, and then come back and do another 5,000 kicks. You're just starting over again, right?
Yeah.
That's where we go back to the consistency. And again, it's the discipline of continuing to show up and gain those 10,000 reps in every single time. And I really believe that number is way lower than what it should be. I feel like it should be 30, 40,000 times before you master it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because the more it's the repetition. You're going to feel more comfortable the more you do it, the more often you can do it. I've seen it myself. Even when I've been in the gym, I've noticed I felt better or more confident in something if I say I'm doing bench press 2 times a week, other than like once every other week or something like that. You're going to feel better the more you put the time in. I think that's with anything. So how would you say that martial arts and all these, the discipline and, working out and all this, how do you think that this has translated into your life, with your relationships, with your experiences, with your, everything in life? How has it really impacted you?
I would say just the continuous of growing and being a student in every aspect of life. So I never ever think that I know everything about a certain field of life. So relationships, I'm always trying to learn maybe more about the person, more about, how can we improve this? Significant others, how can we improve this relationship and dynamic between us? Work, how can I improve maybe my income? How can I improve my services, which will then return my income? So a lot of people have asked me, because with work, I'm a director of a nonprofit. I've had my own company for the last couple of years, and I've been on a lot of different business ventures. And no, I love it. It's so much fun. But people have asked me kind of like business wise, like, what are you doing and why at such a young age and how? And I guess I just love learning. So I'm just a student. In my Instagram bio, it says Philopath, which I just saw it, was a cool word, popped it in there. And the meaning is just a person who likes to learn from the world. So someone who's always studying. So I think for me, just again, having the confidence to say that you don't know everything and just continuing to learning from the best will take you a long way. People who are closed-minded, people who don't have a growth mindset, are never really going to get anywhere in any aspect of life. If you don't want to grow in your relationships, if you don't want to grow in your finances, if you don't want to grow in business ventures, then you're just staying stagnant. And I personally think that's a waste of a life. If you want to sit on your couch playing video games every single day and not really grow, that's fine, because the people who want to grow are going to be the ones kind of running your life. So again, with that, again, take control of your life. And the way that I really do that is by growth, having that growth mindset of, okay, how can I learn? And I try and learn something like 3 things new every day is kind of my rule. So it's just constantly learning. Right now, I'm trying to become fluent in German. I took it for 8 years.
Wow.
And yeah, I love it. It's such a cool language. I took it for 8 years in grade school. And then I'm like, wait, I just use so much of my time to learn it. Why am I not becoming fluent? So again, just always learning something new. I really believe is kind of how you have a fulfilling life. Just again, always be open to saying yes. Say yes to new opportunities, because you might learn something.
I love that, man. Because I feel that's actually what I talk about is you can learn from any person you come across. It doesn't matter if it's a kid, doesn't matter if it's someone that's 70 or 80 or someone your age. You can learn something from anyone, from any experience, whether it's a good or a bad experience. There's something to take away from everything. And I feel like if everyone does, like you just said, if everyone had a growth mindset, I really do feel like everyone will be a lot happier, more fulfilled, because you're not going to be in certain situations. You're not going to stay there because you're like, oh, well, if I'm in this situation or I'm having this issue, what can I do to improve it? And the only way you can improve it is you have to take in information. You have to learn. You have to say, okay, I don't know the answer to this, so I need to figure out what that answer is. You know,
I completely agree. Sorry to cut you off, but I had something right here, because I really feel like some of the best leaders are the ones who have the humbleness to ask those who are less than in their profession about what they experience. Because I know for me, a couple of times, and I was a worship leader at a homeless church a few years ago, and I would pastor there occasionally and give messages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's really cool because my church I go to, it's a huge church. Some people may call it a mega church. But one of the pastors, he's such a good guy, but he would ask me about my sermons and how I took a certain approach. He would ask me for like advice because he knew that I played instruments, and he's like, "Oh, how do you personally not get scared when speaking in front of a crowd?" When this man has spoken in front of crowds of probably 20,000 people, so he's always learning different tactics, different like ways to look and different ways to think. So yes, I really think those leaders, not only did he get so much more respect from me, and just like seeing him like, wow, he has a humbleness to ask me, someone who has almost next to zero experience with pastoring, and he's been pastoring for 25 years, and he's asking me what I'm doing. So I think having kind of that humbleness to learn and to really want to grow is how you really make it.
Yes, I definitely love that story because, you know, it shows you can get to wherever you want. You know, these large positions, you can do all these things. But if you think that you know it all and you just think I have it all together, you're going to hit a point where you're not going to be able to get higher. You're going to be stuck in a certain spot. And I think that was a beautiful thing how he reached out to you and asked you that question, because that's, you know, I feel like sometimes we get stuck in our ways, especially if you're up there like that. And, your perspective is here. And so he needed another perspective, and that perspective is something that he could take and he could learn from. And I think that's amazing. You never can stop learning. If you stop learning, I mean, your mind is a very powerful muscle, just like, your actual muscles. So it's like, I feel like you really don't use it, then you kind of do lose it.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree with you.
So I just had like a couple questions left. One of the questions I had for you is, what were some of the things that you've dealt with, or that you see with your clients, like that maybe they struggled with? Do you see that certain people have a certain type of struggle that they have when it comes to martial arts or fitness, or getting nutrition or anything like that?
For sure. So my clients, specifically in the martial arts section, it's really cool that Krav Maga Academy San Diego, where I work, it's only myself and Anna Kazmer, who is the owner of our gym. So it's a female-owned business, small business specifically. And what's really cool to see is that we have the most amount of females in the gym per capita. So out of any gym, we have the highest rating of percentage of females, just because, again, we're drawn to that. So hearing about all like the sexual assault cases and all these situations that they're being put in, and that they really want to learn jiu-jitsu and Krav Maga specifically to make sure something like that doesn't happen, it's really sad to see. So that's one really big glaring thing. Another one is we've had people come through who are Border Patrol agents, a lot of people in the Navy. So it's kind of fun to work with them because we can teach a lot more, I guess, of aggressive styles. So specifically in my private lessons, we can teach them a lot of Chinese Kempo, which is, again, pretty aggressive. It's what Bruce Lee, John Wick, that type of training.
Oh, that's awesome.
Stems from. Yeah, so it's really fun to see and kind of be able to help these individuals go and fight for our country with them. So those would probably be the two biggest things that I see. Now, from a personal training standpoint, it's obesity. It's sad. America is the most obese state. I could go on a tangent about this with just the USDA and Big Pharma and Monsanto. What a crooked man.
Oh man, we'll have to do a whole separate one on this.
Yeah. He owns the USDA. He's the guy who created Roundup, the pesticide killer. And he now owns and he's so corrupt that he's able to tell Americans what they should eat and what brands they should have and buy. But little does everyone know, he's in charge of Big Pharma, who runs the whole USDA, and now the organic symbol, USDA organic symbol, is corrupt. No one can buy fruits and vegetables anymore. Why? Because he owns it, and he sprays all of his Roundup all over those fruits and vegetables. Wow. So I could go on a whole big topic about that, but obesity, nutrition is, people have stemmed away from whole natural foods, truly organic, and everyone's going to the zero sugar, zero cal, all the fake sugar BS that really it's not good for you. Maybe it's so bad. But all those calories, like the sucralose that's in all of those, still convert to fat. People don't understand that. Sucralose still converts to fat, and you're still going to add weight to yourself. Where do you think the sweetness comes from? Where do you think the sucralose goes? Yes, on the table of nutrition, it says 0 because it's not a food. It's chemicals. It still has. It's all
artificial,
right? So yeah. Obesity, I think would be the biggest one that I see. It's really sad to see, and they're like, I'm eating like low fat this, low sodium that, no zero cal this, zero cal that, and I'm like, that's why.
That's exactly why.
Yeah. So again, nutrition I think is the biggest deterrent from people being able to reach their goals specifically, and yeah, it's kind of sad because again, it's all corrupt.
Yeah. I was just talking to someone about this earlier. A lot of our foods, a lot of the ingredients that are in our foods are illegal in a lot of other countries. And I would even like breakfast. Like I said, we might have to do a whole another separate segment on this. But yeah, I've breakfast cereals, all this, all these chemicals. I think they have something called trisodium phosphate. I think is what it's called, and
Yep.
and it's in detergent and stuff like that. But it's in our cereals that we're feeding our children, and it, and high fructose corn syrup, and then the GMO seedless fruits. I could go on. I could go on about this stuff too.
I get it. If you look up like sugar on the drug, like scientific drug levels, sugar is on the same exact plane with how high addiction is with cocaine. So
wow,
they are on the same level as a scientific look.
That makes sense though.
Yeah. So that's why like when you eat chocolate, you can't stop eating it. You just want more and more and more and more. It's the same exact. It's on the same exact scale right there with cocaine.
Wow.
So it's really crazy. And what sugar's in everything.
Literally.
In every single cereal. And it's very hard to find some sort of packaged food that doesn't have sugar in it.
Yeah. No, it's actually pretty scary. And I talked to a lot of people, diet sodas and stuff, that's worse for you than the regular stuff. Like a lot of this, it's just not good. All these dyes and food colorings.
Mexico's doing a great job. Their soda is still cane sugar, and that's so much better. Don't do this.
It's so much better.
Yeah, Mexico knows where it's at.
It's better. It's crazy when you start to see things like, oh, now this soda says, oh, now made with pure cane sugar. I'm like, whoa, what were they using before? Or they'll say, now made with 100% beef. It's like, what were we eating? What were they serving?
Oh, you have some mystery meat all around, but it's sad. No, I'll leave you with this one thing on the topic of soda. And I've had so many family friends who are firefighters and paramedics, and you know what they used to use to clean up blood off of pavement after car crashes?
What?
Coca-Cola.
No way.
You pour it fizzles up, and it extracts all the blood off of pavement after car crashes. Now they have a powder that they'll put on the ground because I guess people start to get scared about what's in Coke. And I'm like, yeah, you should be scared. If Coca-Cola is strong enough to pull blood off of pavement after a car crash, what is it doing to your stomach?
Oh man, imagine people have been just drinking 24 packs for years.
It's sad to hear some of the stories my clients have. Oh, I've gone down to 1 can a day or 2 cans a day. I'm like, let's go no cans a day. Zevia is a great alternative for soda. For anyone out here listening, go to Whole Foods, buy Zevia. It tastes the same, and it's so much better for you.
Yes. Yeah, I feel, people, nutrition is so important. And if anyone that's listening to this right now and they want to work on their fitness and get their goals together this year, that's the main thing. Working out, going to the gym, you can go 6, 7, 8 days a week. But if you don't get your nutrition down, then it's kind of a lost cause in a way.
Yeah, if your nutrition's not there, you're not going to want to go to the gym. You're not going to feel good enough to go.
Exactly.
Be the slave to yourself sitting on the couch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I only have one last little question for you here. The last thing we wanted to talk about was Ikigai, because that's what we kind of talked about before in the coffee shop. And a lot of people are living very unfulfilled, unhappy lives. From your standpoint, what is Ikigai and what has that done for you, and what do you think it could do for others?
First off, I think people need to read the book to get the full understanding because it's so in depth. And I think for me, it's gratitude. A lot of it comes down to gratitude. A lot of it comes down to being thankful. And really, a lot of it's community as well. So being fulfilled by having community around you. Again, for me, I have a lot of people in my circle, but they're not really on my inner circle. If you look at my life, you look at my calendar, I'm hanging out with the same 5 or 6 people on a weekly basis, and that's it. I know I have a lot of friends and acquaintances, but just having the fulfillment of people you can really trust. Again, you can go along with that cliche saying that you're an average of the 5 people you hang out with. It's really true.
It is.
And I really believe that. So with Ikigai specifically, it talks about community. It talks about gratitude for your community. And specifically like with nutrition and eating, it's having the sense that we're not going to be gluttonous and eat until we are overfull. So the Japanese, they eat until they're roughly 80% full, and they have the gratitude to eat until they are satisfied. All right.
Wow.
Not going into the part of gluttony where, oh, I'm an American, I can eat 2 McDoubles and, oh, let me go for a third, right? No, don't do that. That doesn't mean that, oh, you still have, 20% room left, go fill it. No, have the gratitude for the food you have. Not only are you going to feel better, you're not going to feel less sluggish, but it's also, again, just more of a mental thing of, I'm satisfied, I don't need more, maybe someone else is going to need it. Go get that third McDouble and give it to someone who's homeless, all right? So then they can feel maybe 40% satisfied and you're not over satisfied. So for me specifically, it's having gratitude for your food, not being gluttonous with anything in life. Don't take advantage of situations, even though you know you probably can. And it's, again, having a sense of community around you, not only people to hold you to that higher expectation, but people that, again, you can build bonds with. And again, love the small things in life, because over in Japan, they're monotonous. They do a lot of the same things every single day. And what do they do every night? Sit around playing cards and board games, and they love it because they are satisfied in doing it. They're not going out and being gluttonous and spending tons and tons of money on bottle service downtown. It's gluttony, right? Now, is it fun every once in a while? For sure. Go have fun. But on a day-to-day basis, don't look for how much can I get. I say, go along the lines of, all right, how can I, for one, bless someone else's day? And then for 2, let's just be satisfied with what we have. Because America, you see, we have access to everything. And a lot of Americans, they take advantage of that. They're like, oh, I need this, I need that, instant gratification, right? So it's like, no, slow down, take a breath, understand that, do you need it? Do you want it? I know you want it, but be satisfied with what you have.
Man, I love that. I feel like we can all learn a huge lesson from that. You know, we do overdo things a lot. Because we can, and it's, you know, I think it's almost too much freedom. I think we can learn a lot from, you know, balance. And like, I like that. I never thought about that. 80% eating, 80%, like leaving the 20. That's true. You know, you really do. When you get to 100 or 105, you don't really feel like doing anything but sleeping.
Yeah, if you feel sick, you can do nothing else with the rest of your day. The Japanese
it's so true.
As well. They eat earlier than Americans, and I'm being a hypocrite with this because I get off of work at like 8:39 every night after training clients, and I eat at like 10. And I'm bulking, so that just says something. But I'm honest with it. So with that, it's learning to, again, people over in Japan, from what I've learned with Ikigai, they're eating at like 6 or 7, waiting till they're 80% full, and they're good. They're satisfied. Why? Because they've been brought up like that. America, look at how many kids are obese already. Their BMI. Now, the BMI scale in America is kind of skewed. It says I'm obese as well. So I think we need to have a different system about that. But again, you see a lot of people, they're overweight. And because it starts from such a young age, and shoot, we could go into a whole topic about that with economy and opportunities. But yeah, that's a whole nother 45 minutes. Yeah, man. I can go on this stuff forever. So I mean, I don't want to take up too much of your time today. Man, this has been such an awesome episode. Thank you for being on. And if anyone wants to work with you, or with your coaching, because you offer different coaching services, right? Where can everyone find you? Social media, Ryan Bigelow _ on Instagram, or my website is www.ryanbigelow.com. And then, feel free to hit me up, shoot me a DM. I know there's an inquiry page on my website, so any way possible works.
Awesome. I'll have all that stuff on here for everyone to find. And Yeah, if you have any last comments you'd like to say for anyone, any little words of inspiration?
Not much. I just say keep having an open mind, keep wanting to grow. Don't be a slave to yourself or others. Take control of your life, because a lot of people, the people who have made it in life are taking control of you. So if you want to kind of be one of those plays like that you're being played from everyone, go for it. Or if you want to be the one that's making your own shots and making your own plays, have the constant pursuit of growth and wanting to learn. But yeah, thank you, Jalen, so much for having me on here. Really appreciate it. A lot of fun, and I'm excited for the next episode.
Absolutely, man. So glad to have you on. Everyone that's watching, thank y'all for being here. Hope y'all learned something. Hope you can take something away here. Everyone, stay elevated.